go to line 5. This is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
Yes, hi, good morning, Carl.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Welsing.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you? I think that I'm thinking about what Neely Fuller has said. If we do not understand white supremacy, racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that we think we understand will only confuse us. And as long as we don't fully understand that we, for 500 years, have been in a power context of racism, white supremacy, and we are influenced by it in terms of our thought, speech, and action. We are influenced by it in terms of what it is that we think about ourselves 24/7. Once we begin to understand how we are being conditioned, then we will appreciate why we end up doing certain things. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but it is the vast majority of us. We would have a completely different kind of interaction with ourselves and one another if we loved ourselves as we are, if we loved black skin. You know, you can appreciate any other color, but if we love black skin and we don't love ourselves, if you turn on the television and you see white, we are being psychologically conditioned by that. And if we think back at the end of the civil rights movement, when black people were talking about black is beautiful, black pride, black dignity, black self-respect. And then that was completely erased by the system, because the system understood that if black people really loved and respected themselves, it would be difficult to continue to hold them in an oppressed and a demeaned state. And I have said repeatedly, if I invented 3 pills and put them on eBay, the first pill, you take it, in 24 hours you would be white. The second pill, you take it, and your hair will be straight. The third pill, you take it on Wednesday with a glass of water, and you would wake up with white features. I would be the wealthiest person on the planet. Now, it's not a matter of demeaning ourselves when we face this reality. We have to understand the power context that has us demeaning ourselves, demeaning one another, fighting and killing one another. And so, to me, this is the most important thing we must understand. For example, someone told me, and I may be wrong, that Russell Simmons is with a white woman. So a week ago, we were talking about the horrendous thing that came out about a black icon, Harriet Tubman. Well, if indeed he is with a white woman, and then he finds himself saying the demeanment of this icon is the funniest thing he's ever seen. So we have to embrace ourselves with understanding about what is happening to us at the psychological level as well as the physical level 24/7. And once we begin to understand, then we can really make choices. We can make choices about what behavior do we need to engage in. What kind of images of ourselves do we need to develop if we are going to oppose this system that is really taking us into a state of genocide? And so as one even just said, and it's not to put down black men, you see, but it's like if you line up the black men with the highest salaries and then look at the females they select. You see, it's just like if everybody closed their eyes, men and women, black, ourselves, and we all closed our eyes and then said, okay, what's the most beautiful woman that comes to your mind? What's the most handsome man that comes to your mind? And that's it is a crystal black person. I doubt that it is a person, because I don't say nappy hair, I say helix hair. Our hair is, what we call black hair.
All right, hang on a sec, Doc, because we got to take a break. And we come back, I want you to answer this question, because a listener from D.C. said it's the men that's really causing the women to straighten their hair and wear weaves. And I'll let you respond on the other side. Folks, you too can join the conversation along with Mitzi Miller from Jet Magazine at 877-373-9766. Take your calls right after this short break. And thank you for staying with us, folks. Just a reminder that we're waiting to switch over to Little Rock, Arkansas for the Clinton Presidential Center, where the former President Bill Clinton is going to make a major announcement about Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act. We're waiting on them to get to the podium. But right now we're taking your calls. We're joined by Jet Magazine's executive editor, Mitzi Miller, and also psychiatrist Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. You know her best for the ISIS papers, discussing Sheryl Underwood. She made that remark about hair, nappy-headed afro. She didn't say nappy. I guess afro hair, whatever. But anyway, she gave a sort of backhanded apology, if you will. But Dr. Welsing, the question I asked you before the break was that we had a caller also from D.C. who said that it's because of the black men. This is what black men want in their women. And,
in the system, in a system of racism, white supremacy, what is the context? For example, Neely Fuller says, black man says, when a black man is poor, he wants a job. When he gets a job, he wants luxuries. When he gets luxuries, he wants a white woman. Now, I remember having a friend who was at Harvard many years ago, black man who became tenured at Harvard. And he said, Francis, a white woman goes with the Harvard degree. He said, you don't go this far and then select a black woman.
But I just think that's very narrow-minded. Those are very narrow-minded.
In other words, I'm only talking about the reality. For example, in the dating situation, does the woman make the move to select the man, or does the man make the move to select the woman? And see, I'm not talking out of the context of racism, white supremacy. Everything is in a power context. And if we don't understand the power context, we don't understand the behavior.
I completely agree with you, but I also think that you have to give some credit to younger generations and the younger women that are choosing, and this new movement of women choosing to wear their hair natural. And I think that that's why this is so offensive. More young women are choosing to wear their hair natural, and even though it's not chemically relaxed, some of them still choose to straighten it, but they're no longer putting these chemicals in it. And so that's why Sheryl's comment, to bring it back to that, was so hurtful. People are making a conscious effort, more young people are making a conscious effort to be respectful of their natural features, their natural hair texture. And someone with a national platform made a comment, a derogatory comment in front of an audience that already feels this way. The power structure, like you said, bowing to the power structure, she could have just not said that. She could have made it, I feel
She probably just doesn't. If you said, do you understand the system of racism, white supremacy, what it is, and how it works? She probably would say, I don't really understand what you're talking about. And that wouldn't be that she's a bad person.
Right. I don't think that I don't even think she realized the implications of putting down our hair texture on that type of platform. Because, like you said, the self-hatred runs so deep for so long that now that we have a younger generation of women trying to live differently and black men trying to choose differently, I see younger black men who are successful making conscious decisions to date black women. Black women come in so many different sizes, shapes, hues, colors, that you can get whatever it is that you feel psychologically think you need, and it still be a black woman. And I'm seeing more of that than I have ever before. I'm not.
Well, this is great. This is, in other words, whenever people have insight or develop consciousness and are self-affirming, that's wonderful. That's mental health. I'm only
Absolutely. I don't disagree that the older black men felt like, when I arrive, when I make it, when I'm rich, I need to get a white woman. But I don't, I see it's not it's not some overwhelming change, but I do see a change in the younger black athletes. Look at LeBron James. His fiance is a black woman, hands down. Dwayne Wade is dating Gabrielle Union. These people are choosing women that reflect us.
Well, I think it's just like President Obama. Some people have said one of the most outstanding things that he did as a black man was to select a black woman as his wife. And so we all, black men, black women, see this black couple in the White House. That doesn't mean everybody agrees with every decision he makes as a president. But that has had a very powerful impact on how black people begin to think about themselves in this power context that demeans and degrades black people 24/7. So we just have to embrace ourselves and decide we're going to love ourselves, and then we look at what has happened to us in the past, what is continuing to happen to us in the present, and what is it that we need to do to, in fact, totally liberate ourselves from a system of black destruction.
And I think that that's why Sheryl's comment was so shocking and hurtful, because we do have all these amazing examples. We do have black couples out there front and center more and more, and it just felt so much like a throwback. It so felt like pandering to this audience.
We have to understand.
Right. I mean, and again, she's a lovely woman. I've met her several times. She's extremely nice. She's been honest about her own personal experiences, and people always speak from that very personal space. But I think on the larger platform, having access to this type of audience, it just was an unfortunate decision to make those comments about black hair. Hair is hair. Like, at the end of the day, hair is hair. It's an accessory. It doesn't determine your value as a person, but when you say that one is better than the other, you're just sending a really negative message across to people, making it acceptable, honestly. And I think that's what people are worried about. Like, you're making it acceptable to other people to continue to believe that our hair is nasty, to believe that the natural state of our hair is not good enough, and that's just not true.
All right.
Well, again, I just make this strong pitch for us to understand the power context in which we find ourselves. Just last night, I'm in my office talking to a patient, and the patient is talking about the whole panorama of color sickness in her family. And I encouraged her. I said, look, when you are feeling better, write this story, not to demean us, but to help us understand and respect what has happened to us. Just write it so that we can all reflect on how we have been injured and how we have been damaged in this destructive power context. It's a very, very important discussion, and I hope we are learning from this particular situation.
I hope so too. Thanks, Dr. Welsing. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing.